Introducing first, in the blue corner, Charlie O'Neill.
Well, Dean, as we get ready to kick things off here in Bournemouth again, it's the main card and it's Phoenix Fight Night. Great to be back at the O2. Outstanding atmosphere.
Amazing venue here, Chris. Ecstatic view, ecstatic Coliseum-like venue here. Coming out here is Charlie O'Neill. I'll leave it to you, Chris.
Out of the First Legion gym, and as we know, Dean, a very experienced kickboxer with a very strong recent record.
Definitely, he has 3 wins, 1 loss under Jamie McManus at First Legion. Brilliant boxing background, Chris.
And we know that he's been coming off really some excellent performances, Dean, but a real tough fight for both guys coming in here against Steve Davidson, his opponent, to emerge from the red corner shortly.
A lot have said Charlie is the favourite on paper, but Steve will not quit.
And we know that, Dean, Charlie has possibly the edge of the experience. He brings a very explosive, unique style to K1, and we're having it here in Phoenix in the cage tonight. One of the best ways, in my opinion, for that all-action K1 rule set.
K1 in a cage is so exciting because you don't have anywhere to run. You get stuck by the cage behind you. It forces you to get out or get punched.
And his opponent, please welcome to cage side, Steve Davidson.
But one of the competitors here known in Phoenix for a strong game of fisticuffs, Dean. It's Steve Davidson out of Phoenix MMA. Again, a real class athlete.
Steve Davidson, 2 wins, 1 loss, unbeaten in 3 years. Full contact karate, he is super fit and always comes forward.
Speaking of his stand-up style, I mean, you see Phil Norman there in the corner, the ghost system. We talk about his full contact background. He's kind of known as the quiet kid in the gym, very polite, very courteous, but he is nasty in the ring.
He has exceptionally fast kicks, really good footwork coupled. Even in the last round, he's strong and still fast.
Here we go. It's time for K1. It's Phoenix Fight Night.
We open our main card with 3-minute rounds in the professional K1 division at 77 kilograms. This bout is sponsored by UCal UK. Introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner. This man weighed in at 76.6 kilograms and has an impressive record of 3 wins, 1 loss, and 0 draws. Representing First Legion Fight Team, Charlie O'Neill. And his opponent, fighting out of the red corner. This man weighed in at 76.4 kilograms and has a record of 2 wins, 1 loss, and 0 draws. Representing Phoenix MMA, Bournemouth's very own Steve Davidson. When the action begins, the referee in charge, Nash Beshwar.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, as our third man in the ring brings these 2 competitors together, out of the red corner, Steve Davidson, fighting out of Phoenix MMA, and facing off against him in the blue corner, Charlie O'Neill from First Legion. 2 guys here at welterweight. We're kicking off the main card in Bournemouth. Cannot wait for this one, Dean.
Exciting to see how this unfolds. Contrasting styles here. A lot of fast power to be expected, to see how these guys tee off against each other as they come forward and center them. That nice opening kick there by Davidson.
And a nice counter as well from O'Neill. Possible little low blow there. We're going to get a check from the referee to make sure everything's okay. And a touch of gloves, and we continue. Clash of kicks again. Possible low blow, but an acknowledgement and a touch of gloves. Outstanding sportsmanship. Such incredible, as we said, competitors here on the card, Dean. And kicking it off here in our first K1 rules bout. Everything we'd hoped for.
Davidson testing the distance early on. You see him pouring that right hand out, flicking those kicks out, gauging the distance when he can come in. Nice kick there.
Yeah, Davidson looking for that hook kick possibly. And circling to the left and then immediately cutting to the right for a round kick. That's that ghost system 101, Dean. Finding space and using it.
Really good lateral movement from Davidson there. Like how he chops away with those kicks and then moves laterally out of the pocket, out of the danger zone of his opponent, O'Neill.
And then that movement, Dean, that sets up the actual strikes. That set up that, for example, head kick there with the lead left.
See, Davidson likes to pour out there, test the distance, then go up high, go low. Really likes to confuse his opponent, waiting for that ample time to land that decisive shot.
But the problem with throwing single kicks is exactly what O'Neill demonstrated there. He tried to play punch the kicker a bit, Dean.
O'Neill's doing a good job of timing when to counter. Davidson's throwing stuff out. He's given a bit too much leeway for O'Neill to stand in front of him and counter there. Davidson needs to really be a bit more punches in bunches, Chris, a bit more volume of strikes
to set up those kicks. And now that's better work from Charlie O'Neill, the First Legion fighter, landing very cleanly to the lead leg of Davidson. Davidson circling to his left, but then gets backed off again on a 1-2 combination, Dean.
Nice right hand there by O'Neill. I'd like to see O'Neill put out some more kicks and punches of his own. However, he is commanding the center of this cage thus far.
And the two continue here in Phoenix to feel out, and as you said, Dean, gauge the distance. And again, though, O'Neill is able to clip him with a couple of punches, catching Davidson moving in, not covering up, Dean.
Nice Superman punch by there, O'Neill. Gauging the distance again is O'Neill. He's kind of coming in his own. There we go. As you see, evades the kick there, Chris. He's kind of found his way at the distance. He's come up with good counter shots there. Nice body kick by O'Neill.
And a right hook whizzing by the chin of O'Neill from Davidson. Tremendous start here in the beginning of our main card in Phoenix.
Really impressed with these fighters. They're not slugging it out. They're looking for that perfect ample time as they trade off there. Davidson again doing a brilliant job of circling away from the danger.
And Davidson pawing now southpaw, but then eats a kick to the body, and he'll catch that from an orthodox fighter who stands against the southpaw. That really opens up the kick to the body with the right, doesn't it, Dean?
Also opens the straight left hand down there, standing in the southpaw. You have to really be aware of that. If somebody's switching a stance, you need to be aware of how it changes up the game.
And an outstanding way, a tremendous way, Dean, to really open up this card. And thinking about the action, there was the movement, there was the single kicks of Davidson, but it was also the punching counters of Charlie O'Neill that was useful.
The key word for this fight is versatility. Orthodox, southpaw. These fighters are coming out, switching up, looking for that way in to showcase their skills and ultimately win the fight.
And with some great exchanges in round one, we continue here into round two. Chris Hoekstra calling it with Dean Midhat. We're live in Bournemouth at the O2. It's Phoenix Fight Night. Round 2 of 3 in this K1 rules affair. It's Steve Davidson taking on Charlie O'Neill. And the hometown Phoenix fighter has shown, as you said, Dean, some great rhythm with the kicking game. But Charlie O'Neill looking to counter here. He shakes his head at the kicks now of Davidson.
I'd like to see O'Neill throw some feints or feigns, Chris, to make Davidson move off that center line and catch him as he tries to evade.
And there we go. He was charging forward now. Multiple punch combination for Charlie O'Neill. And Davidson circling to his right now. And what two great prospects here. Two guys, as you said, Dean, who have been on a real run lately. Neither failing to begin to implement their game plan, but perhaps neither being totally decisive with it either.
They're still placing effective strikes. Nice Superman punch there, O'Neill, excuse me. Like to see him put a kick on the end of that.
But relentless movement from both. Very different in the fashion and manner in which they display it, Dean. But that was what makes such an exciting matchup, a contrast of styles.
O'Neill's doing a good job of throwing that lead kick. As Davidson circles out, he's catching him with that lead kick.
And Davidson was circling, as you said, to his right. That really sets up for that lead left kick, doesn't it, Dean?
Particularly the body kick and the switch head kick. If he can chop and change between those, he could perhaps catch Davidson with his hands down with the head kick, and it could be all over.
And a lot of pressure now from Charlie O'Neill. Davidson circling constantly to his right here. O'Neill keeping a very nice high guard. I think he's very wary of that kick to the head, Dean. Nice hook kick attempt from Steve Davidson. And the Phoenix MMA fighter still trying to warm up for those surprising techniques, those elusive techniques that the Phil Norman system is so known for.
O'Neill here doing a good job of chopping away at Davidson's main strength, which is his footwork. If you chop away at those legs, Chris, it's going to limit his power, limit his agility, limit his ability to move around the ring like he has been doing thus far in this fight.
And he's trying to distort as well and control and cut off his movement by pressing him back against the fence, isn't he, Dean? Every time you can see Davidson circling. O'Neill raises his hands and goads him on. Again, it's the mental and physical aspects of this compelling style matchup.
O'Neill keeping his composure, not getting too frustrated, doing a really good job of cutting Davidson off, landing that right hand. Davidson still looking for a way in there.
Nice combination, but then gets cracked with the right. right over the guard. Referee looking here, checking his condition, determines it not a knockdown.
Swing and a miss by O'Neal. He really needs to get back to cutting off Davidson at angles. He can't go straight forward. Davidson will just evade. Throw some kicks of his own. O'Neal, nice teep from O'Neal.
And again, that circling movement, that lateral movement from Davidson. Nice charge in, well, for O'Neal with the right hand. O'Neal looking for the clinch, but getting tripped now. Possibly a little bit of a slip there. Couldn't quite tell from our angle here.
Nice. O'Neal, see what O'Neal did there? He faked, then came in with a low leg kick. Faked high and went low. Beautiful stuff from O'Neal.
And landing very nicely there at the end of the round was Charlie O'Neal. Steve Davidson showing off some very flashy techniques, still keeping up the movement, Dean. If you look at the tape there in that round, still seemingly having that effective cardio, but O'Neal, as you said, really getting into stalking mode and pressuring him.
O'Neal's really evolving. The evolution of his striking game in this K1 bout has come tenfold. He's cutting off, he's creating angles, landing some good shots. And when he wants to come in, you notice he set up that Superman punch beautifully, followed up with a left hook.
Cannot rate. It's the third and final round coming up right now. Round 3 of 3 here. Kicking off Phoenix Fight Night in Bournemouth. Outstanding atmosphere, great crowd, Dean. Just a perfect venue, as you alluded. I love this matchup. I love this rule set. What a way to start the night.
Like I said before, at Coliseum, like they're all looking on these two gladiators teeing off, trying to find the answer to each other as they tee up their nice knee there from the center from O'Neal.
And I want to pick up on what you highlighted from round 2. O'Neal, a learner, O'Neal, an athlete, paying attention to those details and adjusting his tactics and strategy, Dean.
And what he's doing really well, he must know in the judges' scorecards, if it goes to a decision, he's got to stay in the center of that cage. He's got to be seen as a controlling factor in this fight to get up on the judges' scorecard.
And an aggressive factor, Dean. I think, as you highlighted, pushing back, slowing down the movement of Steve Davidson. Davidson now trying to loosen up, still looks pretty fresh on the balls of his feet. But I think O'Neal adjusting a little bit better continually throughout this fight, particularly from round 2 into 3.
Charlie O'Neal on his back foot there, throwing a 1-2 as Davidson came in, really coming to his own in his striking game in this fight. Superman punch again, they tie up.
And a wise clinch from Davidson. He knew that O'Neal was in on him. He clinched, he got a break back to clean space. Excellent cornering, excellent coaching there in the Phoenix corner. As I said, Phil Norman, in my opinion, one of the most underrated stand-up coaches in the UK. I really love his approach. And Davidson's going for it. Davidson charging forward, right hand, clinching again though. He knows exactly when he needs to get a break and move back into space where he operates at a premium.
Oi, as he eats a right overhand right there to Davidson. Spectacle to watch Davidson's elusiveness, but he just needs to put a full stop, a stamp if you like, on those strikes when he comes in. Make them decisive and score points, then get out of harm's way. Nice movement there by Davidson, but he needs to put a strike on the end of that.
And Davidson moving away from that push kick. And he clips O'Neal very nicely there. And again, the clinch immediately holds on and a clean break. Not much time to go in this fight, and it's been a real back and forth affair, Dean.
You could say that Davidson now, perhaps, as he's coming in and catching those shots, he might be getting a bit frustrated that although he's elusive, he must know that he's not scoring these points, as O'Neal takes a slip there, I believe.
And O'Neal crashing to the mat. The crowd roars with approval for the hometown fighter. And both fighters swinging for it, Dean, racing towards the finish line.
As we near the end of this fight here, O'Neal really trying to find a home for that right hand. Nice body kick by O'Neal there.
Way.
He switches.
Very clean technique from the first Legion fighter. Both fighters replying to the challenge they have set. And then Davidson charges in with a lead right hand. Man, what a pace, Dean.
K1 action at its best. Way big hooks there from O'Neal. He's goading his opponent on, saying, come fight me. Nice teep there as he comes forward. Again, commanding the center of the cage.
And both fighters think they have done enough. Both fighters a real gunslinger style. Davidson, if you look at the tape and the highlights from that round, operating with a lot of movement, a lot of lateral movement, but O'Neal in the pocket, planting his feet, throwing heavy leather. It's the type of fight and matchup you dream of, Dean.
interesting to watch because Davidson wasn't stalling, he wasn't avoiding, he was evading. But like you said, O'Neill commanded the centre of the cage, landed some really good shots there, some nice knees in the clinch. I would not like to score this one.
With it on a knife edge here in Bournemouth, we're going to take it over to our Master of Ceremonies, Mr. Buddy Johnson, and we'll see what the scorecards say. Over to the judges' decision. It's Chris Hoekstra and Dean Midhat live, Phoenix Fight Night. Let's get the official announcement.
Ladies and gentlemen, round of applause for both fighters this evening. Come on! This bout sponsored by UCAL UK, and we had 3 exciting rounds. And we go to our judges' scorecards. Your winner by unanimous decision in the blue